You guys remember going out of your house or even hugs? I miss hugs, y'all. Today we're talking about melody and harmony. We'll start with melody since it's pretty easy to conceptualize. In fact, I'll just show you. Mary had a little lamb. Now, when I said those words, a melody likely popped into your head. You see, at their core, melodies are just arranged tonal frequencies that comprise what we broadly perceive as music. But we can dig a little deeper. Songs are always comprised of melody, or often multiple melodies. You see, even the songs you can't stand, the songs you hate, have a melody. You can even have a melody with no surrounding song. But I'm not sure how you'd ever create a song without melody. It's very foundational. It's very powerful, building block of music. It's what makes music music. In fact, I think one of the most powerful examples of melody is how it permeates human memory a little differently than a lot of things. I couldn't tell you what I had for lunch last Monday, but I could hum the melody to a Jimmy Eat World song I liked in high school as if it was nothing. You see the same phenomenon in nonverbal infants responding to familiar melodies hummed by their parent. Even folks that suffer from severe dementia can often be coaxed into singing along to songs from their youth. There's just mountains of neurological studies about this if you really want to get into it. But that's not really what we're talking about right now. We're more talking about music. And although we've talked very broadly about melody, there is another logical step, and that is to figure out what makes a melody, specifically in the orchestral or symphonic context. Because typically in symphonic music, it's a little more complex than single note progressions repeated over and over. That's what we get in a lot of pop and rock music. But in the classical style, you will very often have harmonies as an intricate building block of the broader melody. So that brings us to the next piece of this episode. What is harmony? Well, academically speaking, it's a polyphonic musical expression. That's a little boring. Emotionally speaking, it's tension and relaxation, consonance and dissonance. Well, that's a little vague. In musical theory, you see harmony present in chords, triads, dyads. But at its core, harmony is really just two or more notes working in concert with each other, or sometimes even working against each other. Maybe it'll be easier to think about this in a non-musical context. So outside of the orchestra pit, harmony is a synonym for cooperation or partnership. There are probably dozens of examples that come to mind when I mention harmony in that context. In your work life or your personal life, I'm willing to bet you prefer a sense of harmony over imbalance or discordance. So if we take that idea back to music, you can kind of understand how harmony exists as an interworking of musical intention. So I want to drive this idea home with a musical example. Consider the song Chopsticks. This is a very simple song. It has a two-note harmony that interweaves itself within the song's melody. An untrained ear could probably even tell when the harmony is identical two-note octaves or when two different notes are working harmonically together. It's really interesting. So, I think I've talked enough about harmony and melody, and we should probably move into my music room and take some of these ideas and work on our very first melody. Cheers. What's up, everybody? I had a wardrobe change. Actually, I did some writing last night, and then I accidentally deleted everything. So now I'm back at it. I think there's just something about a glissando. Do you know what a glissando is? I'm going to show you. First of all, I'm going to do a downward glissando. They're just... So if you do... They're kind of creepy. You also could do major, like a rundown too. But it's just an interesting thing. I'm thinking I might start the whole piece with either a rundown or a downward, like glissando, because it's just... You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of cool. Do I even like the melody? These are all questions you're asking while you're writing. You hear it and you go, oh, I liked it initially, but the more I listen to it, the more I'm kind of like, is this my jam? That's kind of interesting, don't you think? Or do we do something with marcato, which I think could be more fun? Welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so I have a melody that I think I'm going to start working with. It's got a very like... And then I'm going to complement it with some viola with a spiccato, I guess it's a temperament, I think. Or, well, all right, you'll just hear it. Something like that. So what we're going to do is, now this part's going to be annoying because there's going to be a click, and people don't really like the click, but, you know, sorry, watch is buzzing. This is good. You're going to hear some clicking, and it's because I need the clicking to keep on tempo. But basically, here's going to be like the foundational melody that we'll start the song with. All right, let's see what that sounds like. So I feel like that melody needs a little more color. So I'm going to go... All right, let me see what kind of... All right, so the spiccato feels a little extra to me. So I'm going to try just marcato. You can look these up. They're basically spelled how they sound. And it's just like different ways in which you play your instrument. We'll talk more about it when we get into like timbre and motif, but basically it's just, I already like that better. So that's a marcato. It doesn't have quite the snap. It's a little more, it feels a little smoother. These are just Italian words. They have meanings. You can look them up. All right, I don't like that. I'm gonna go down. basically we have our melody, our initial melody, but there's going to be more to come. But just so you have the flavor and the taste of what's happening, here it is. And that is the beginning. It seems like nothing, but everything starts somewhere.